The Foolish King. Once upon a time, in a kingdom far away, there lived a king named Raja. King Raja was deeply attached to his crown, the symbol of his power and authority. He believed that the crown gave him everything: respect, wealth, and control over his subjects. As his rule grew stronger, so did his obsession with the crown. He wore it at all times, even when he was at rest, sleeping, or eating, and he believed that without it, he would lose his identity, his power, and his place in the world. One day, a wise sage passed through the kingdom and heard about the king's obsession with his crown. The sage was well known for his teachings on non-attachment and inner peace, and he decided to visit the king. When the sage arrived at the royal palace, he was escorted to the king's throne room. The king was seated on his grand throne, his golden crown placed firmly on his head. The sage, standing before the king, gently bowed and said, "O king, I have heard that you are a ruler of great power and wealth. But I also hear that you are deeply attached to your crown. Tell me, O king, what is the true value of this crown? Is it the gold and jewels that make you who you are, or is there something more?" King Raja, not understanding the sage's question, laughed and replied, "This crown is the symbol of my authority. It is what makes me king. Without it, I would be nothing. It represents all that I have worked for, my power, my control, and my reign over this kingdom." The sage nodded thoughtfully and asked, "But, O king, if one day this crown were to be taken from you, or if it were to be lost, would you still be the same person? Would your heart remain the same, and would your power still be intact?" The king's face darkened. He had never considered this question. His entire identity was tied to the crown. "Of course, I would still be king," Raja said, trying to convince himself. "Without it, perhaps I would face hardships, but I would still have my authority." The sage smiled gently and replied, "Let me tell you a story, O king. The story of the crowns. Long ago, in a distant land, there was a great king who had many crowns. He had crowns made of gold, silver, and precious gems, crowns that were decorated with beautiful jewels, and others with intricate designs. One day, the king decided to wear every crown he owned at once, to show off his wealth and power. He stacked them one by one on his head, each crown larger and heavier than the last. As he walked around, the weight of the crowns became unbearable. He could no longer stand up straight, and he stumbled and fell. People laughed at him, and he was unable to move freely or enjoy his reign. In the end, the king realized that the very crowns that were meant to symbolize his power had only weighed him down. The wise sage paused and looked at the king. "The more you cling to your crown, King Raja, the heavier it becomes. The more you attach yourself to power, wealth, and possessions, the more they weigh you down. True freedom comes when you release your attachments." King Raja listened intently, and the sage continued, "I have one more question for you. Do you own your crown, or does your crown own you?" The king was struck by the question. He had never thought of it that way before. The crown, which he believed gave him power, was in fact controlling him, making him fearful of losing it. The fear of losing his identity, his position, and his wealth had led him to live in constant anxiety and insecurity. The lesson of non-attachment. The sage continued, "True freedom comes when we are not attached to anything, neither our possessions, our status, nor our wealth. When you are free from attachment, you will find peace, because nothing can take away your inner peace. You can enjoy the crown, but you must know that it is not who you truly are. Without it, you will still be the same wise and compassionate king, and your true power will come from within." King Raja looked down at his crown, and for the first time, he understood. He had spent his entire life believing that the crown defined him. But now, he realized that he could still be a good and just king, with or without it. The crown was merely an object, and his true worth lay in his actions, his heart, and his wisdom, not in the symbol of his power. He slowly removed the crown from his head and placed it on the throne beside him. "Thank you, wise sage," he said humbly. "I now see that true freedom comes not from clinging to my crown, but from letting go of the fear of losing it. I will learn to rule with a heart that is free from attachment, and I will not allow my crown to define who I am." The sage smiled and nodded, pleased by the king's newfound wisdom. When you let go of your attachments, O king, you will find a happiness that is not dependent on wealth or power. You will be free to live with joy, peace, and wisdom. And so, King Raja ruled his kingdom with great wisdom and compassion, no longer bound by his attachments. He helped his people with a heart full of generosity, knowing that true power came not from his crown, but from his ability to serve with love and kindness. Moral of the story: true freedom comes from non-attachment. When we cling to material possessions, titles, or wealth, we become slaves to them. Our worth is not defined by what we own, but by who we are at our core. By releasing attachments and letting go of the fear of loss, we open ourselves to peace, wisdom, and a deeper sense of happiness. The things we possess should not possess us. Thanks for watching. If you found this video insightful, don't forget to give it a like, share it with others who might benefit, and subscribe to the channel for more valuable content like this. Hit the bell icon so you never miss an update. See you in the next video.